So today's experiment is going to be the spring constant, and essentially the objective of this lab is to study the motion of the spring, and we will be calculating the spring constant by two methods. One is the static method and the other is the dynamic method. So let's look at the apparatus that we need. We have a spring here of the unknown spring constant that we want to calculate, and it is constricted and held at this end. And on the other hand, we have a hanger on which you can add different amount of masses, and we have a ruler here so that you can measure the extension of the spring whenever there is a mass that is attached. And so additionally what we need is some extra masses, and we need a stopwatch to actually do the measurements for the time period during dynamic measurements. So in the static method, what you want to do is you want to measure the initial extension of the spring when there is no mass that is attached. So you can use an additional ruler to accurately measure the value when there is no mass attached. So once you have done that, what you want to do is you want to use your hanger and additional mass, and you want to add that mass to the spring. And once the mass is added, what it is going to do is it's going to exert a gravitational force on the spring, and that will cause the spring to get extended. At the same time, what is going to happen is the spring is going to exert a restoring force kx in the opposite direction, and then eventually the spring is going to attain equilibrium. So now you want to again measure the extension of the spring after the mass has been attached. Okay, so now we have the hanger, which is 50 grams, and then you have an additional weight that is another 50 grams, so 100 grams is added. And so you want to do the measurements for 50, 100, 150, 200 and 250 grams. So as we had discussed in the static method, what we are doing is we are adding certain amount of mass, let's say 50 gram, and that exerts a force, so that would be 0.05 kilograms into 9.8 meters per second square mg, and so that is 0.49 newtons. And because of that force, you are going to see some extension in the spring. So the initial extension that was measured was 12.6 centimeters, and after adding the 50 gram we are measuring 13.5 centimeters. So if you subtract both of these values, you will get a displacement of 0.9 centimeters when 50 gram is added to the spring. So from this you can do the calculations once you are increasing the load. So you are going all the way from 50 grams to 250 grams, and then you can do on the way back when you are decreasing the load from 250 grams to your 50 grams. And so then you will have two sets of measurements, and then you can average them and you can get the mean displacement. So the whole idea of calculation is that what you want to do is you want to plot force versus displacement. And the reason why we are doing that is that, as you know, the balance equation is force equal to mg is equal to kx. And so if you plot the force on the y-axis and if you plot the displacement on the x-axis, whatever you are left with, m is the slope. So the k, which is the spring constant, is the slope. So once you plot force versus displacement, which is the force versus displacement value, so you will get a straight line, and that is what you should get. And from that you can use Excel to fit this equation, and once you do the fitting, you will get a slope, and the value that you get is 15.484, and that is in newtons per meter. So in the dynamic method, what we want to do is we want to create these oscillations which will be simple harmonic. So the way we want to do it is, once the mass is attached, what you want to do is you want to give a small displacement to that mass, and that will cause the oscillations to happen. So you don't want to hurry into this one. As soon as you are comfortable with the oscillations, then you can start counting for the time periods, and you want to count for the entire oscillation. So let's say you start now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now you have 10 oscillations, and then you can average the time taken for those 10 oscillations in your measurements. So to do the calculations by dynamic method, what we did was, again we added 150 gram to the spring and we made the spring oscillate, and so we did a 20 oscillation run, and we took the time that it takes to do the 20 oscillations, and we did the experiment twice so that we can take an average value, and so by this you can get much more accurate results. So you might as well do it 3 times if you want much more accurate readings. Okay, so then we increased the mass to 200 grams, and again we did the measurements for 20 oscillations. We did 2 runs and then we took the average. So by doing that you can take the average time period for one oscillation by dividing the value by 20. So if you divide the TA and TVA values by 20, you will get these numbers. Okay, so the reason why we are doing these calculations is because the formula to calculate the spring constant K is given by 4 pi square times the difference between the masses divided by the difference between the square of the time periods, and so that time period is what we are measuring. So if you do that, we actually get a value of 15.264 for the first 2 runs, and so you do the experiment with different masses, and eventually you see the average value that we get is 15.06, and this value is much more closer to the actual value of 15 Newton per meter that we get of the spring that we know. So the dynamic method is much more accurate in calculating the spring constant than the static method.